It's Friday, guys. It is time to move on with this thing. Hope you guys are having a great week and got a big weekend plan. I think I'm going to be making sawdust most of the weekend, but that's okay. That's what I love to do. So, you know where we're at right now on this sign. Now, many of you may have guessed, or you may have an idea of what we're actually going to do for that boom. Well, I'm going to get into it right now. So, on this video, my goal is to get the color all done and get that boom part done. So here's what we're going to do. That thing's so heavy it threw me off balance. So we have got, there's our boom. Okay, we did the transfer with, and dang it, I had notes on that too, of what videos to look at for transfer. With that. Anyway, I think 310 and 305, those videos, I do this inkjet transfer with the freezer paper. So it's pretty simple, but go back and watch those videos. I think if you go back and look, you'll see a lot of videos lately where I've done the inkjet transfer with the freezer paper. But anyway, so I got that done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my adhesive, my roll-on adhesive, which is really cool stuff, and I'm going to stick this down. So here's what the plan is, guys. This is going to be an overlay, or I'm calling it an overlay. You could call it an applique, you could call it whatever you want, I suppose. But rather than use a scroll saw and cut them out with a scroll saw, I'm going to do it with a router. I'm a little bit better with a router than I am a scroll saw. So this is my sacrifice piece. I don't know, can you see where the adhesive is actually on there? Because sometimes you have to look at it with a certain light.
Now you can't.
Yeah.
Put it back down.
Down, okay. All right, so you can see where that adhesive is on there. So all I'm going to do is just press this down, and then what we're going to do is I'll get my router out, and we're going to, but that should be pretty good. So I'm going to cut through the one piece and just barely into the second piece. This is 1/4 inch birch. Oh, by the way, before I forget, you got to sand this down nice and smooth. I used a 220 with my little orbital sander to sand that down smooth. Otherwise, you won't get as good a transfer. But anyway, go back and watch those videos. You'll see what I mean. So we'll be right back, and we'll get this thing cut out. All right, guys and gals, we have the profile bit in, and what I'm going to do here, being as that's a really heavy, thick line, I kind of measured it out. We actually printed this out. Vicky did her computer magic and basically made this the right size. So theoretically, once this is all cut out, these two notches are going to fit right in sync with that H on the Rockin' H. So what I need to do is I'm going to actually cut this black line all the way out, or thereabouts. So we're actually going to end up with one, two, three, four, 5 different pieces. This will be a piece, and these will all be individual pieces except for this one. So I got the profile bit in. I got it set at the right depth. The way I know it's the right depth is I just checking to make sure I go all the way through. That tells me I just went all the way through and just barely into that sacrifice piece. So the theory here is that the way this boom is in the artwork, it has a black line around it. This will be a black line, but it'll be because the profile bit is cutting at an angle. That's the theory. All right, let's stop talking and get into it. Where's my cheaters at? Oh, man. I left my cheaters in the other room.
I'll go get them.
Okay, so the profile bit, again, you'll see that I'm going to try and cut all of that black away to where there's just wood, and then the angle that the profile bit leaves will in fact be black on the final product, hopefully. Hope that makes sense. It'll make sense when you see it, hopefully. Thank you. All right, here we go. I need more cord. All right, guys. Here we go. if my guess is correct, that should just pop right off of there. There's my bee. All right, let's get on to the other ones. So, that's kind of what you want to watch out for. I think it's still going to work. I need to trim it a little bit, sand it a little bit, but I think it's still going to work. Actually, I'm not sure. That little notch out of there, evidently I didn't have the adhesive strip going through there. Sometimes that happens. Here's the thing, guys. This is not all that safe to do. You have to always expect that that stuff is going to chip out on you or break out or break loose on you. Some of these broke loose a little sooner than I really wanted them to, especially that one. So I'll have to come back and redo that one. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get this cut out all the way. So that one, you saw that one kind of break loose a little bit. So when you're doing stuff like this, you just have to be aware all the time that, like on the middle of the O's and the middle of the B's, that kind of stuff, that stuff could break loose on you anytime, and just get your router out of the way as soon as you can. So, and this plywood, by the way, does definitely dull those bits. That bit was sharp when I started, and now I can feel it already getting a little bit dull. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate that, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get another layout for that dot and recreate it. All right, guys, so that layout that I used before, that transfer, it still had a little bit of ink on there, so I re-transferred with that same one, and it gave me just enough. Now what I did was I separated these boards. I put some more adhesive in there, so I've got 3 strips going this way. Now here's another trick that I used to do all the time that I haven't shared yet, is I use like a little clamp like this. Here's the thing, is to get this roll-on adhesive to stick the best that you can, you've got to put it under a lot of pressure. So what I do, this is what I used to do all the time, I'm just going to go ahead and clamp that down as tight as I can get it with that, or you could use a C-clamp, something else, and that is going to give me a pretty good holding power, I think, in that area. We're going to find out here in a second, because I'm going to find the router and cut that, see what it does. But again, I will absolutely expect that it's going to break away on you. And when you expect that stuff to happen, then when it doesn't, it's just a bonus. Yep, it held in that time. It's stuck good. That little clamp thing really makes a difference. It sticks down good. All right, guys, that's it for this scene. We're going to come back and we'll take the next step with these letters. Okay, so on these you can see that I've got a few places that are a little bit wobbly. So what I'm going to do is take my micro zip and try and stay on that angle there and just kind of smooth some of that stuff out. It doesn't really take very much. I think I've got pretty fine sandpaper right there, but it won't take very much. So I'm just going to kind of go over all of these, smooth out my edges, and then we'll come back and we'll get these things colored. All right, folks, we're back. So what I did was I took all those little letters, those little pieces, I sanded them all down, got all my edges smooth. Then I sprayed them black on the edges and sanded off the surface, and this is what we've got. So here's the boom letters. Now I didn't sand it completely, all of that black off. There's still just a trace of some of that black, but it doesn't really matter because now I'm going to paint them. So I figured it's better to paint them now rather than...
What are you painting them with?
I am painting them with the One Shot. Let me turn this around. And this is Primrose Yellow. So my goal is to try and keep it off of the black. This is all theoretical right now, guys. I don't know. You know me and painting. Or if you don't, understand, this is my least favorite part. And I've still got a lot of painting to do on the actual sign, too.
Are you going to put just one coat? Or are you gonna put
I don't know. The One Shot generally will cover in one coat, but I'm not sure yet. We'll just have to wait and see.
Boy, this really tests your patience, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Funny thing is, I have tons of patience when it comes to the actual router and sign cutting and all that, but this I don't have much patience for. I think I'm better off leaving it flat, honestly, rather than moving it around with my left hand. So this is literally, for you guys, like watching paint dry. So I'm not going to torture you guys a lot with this. Some of you people really love this.
I think they just like watching you suffer.
Well, I think you're just talking from your perspective.
Well, that's true.
You know what? I could go somewhere on that, but I'm not even going to do it. I'm going to be nice today. All right, so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to do this to all of them. If it soaks in too much, I'm going to put a second coat, and then we're going to come right back. By the time we come back, these will be done, and we're going to start painting those inset letters. The Rockin' H Woodshop. Those got to be red and blue, and then we got to paint some surface too. So we'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, we're back. So Vicky's trying to jump the gun with the camera, but I was ready. All right, so now we are going to color these letters, as in the logo, blue and red. And I'm using the acrylic paints, whereas when I was painting the boom, which we'll be bringing that back here in a few minutes, but when I was painting the boom, I was using the One Shot oil base. But what I found is that this, and I may have to do two coats on these as well.
So you
but
weren't quite ready as you thought you were.
I guess I wasn't ready. So anyway, these are water-based acrylics, and they actually work pretty good. I've used them a few times before. So I'm not too worried about getting on the surface, because if I do, which I'm certain that I will, then I'm just going to sand it off anyway. And I already know that it sands off really well. So I'll probably just use my little orbital sander, so I don't have to be real careful. So if there's a part of the painting that I prefer, it's where I don't have to be careful. So this is the only painting that I really.
That's like when you painted the house.
I didn't paint the house.
Painted rooms before they didn't. They
Oh,
look kind
the
of like
inside?
that, yeah.
Oh yeah. That's why you guys will never see a movie of the inside of our house.
Oh, you've got a lot to do on that one.
So I'm just going to do a few of these guys, just so you can get an idea. And again, you have to make sure that it covers well. So I may go back and do. This stuff dries pretty fast, so I may go back and do a second coat.
You've missed a whole bunch.
That's the thing is, you have to get right over the top of it. I was sitting back because of the angles. You have to get right over the top of it, otherwise you'll miss some. I'll definitely come back with a second coat. But I think that's a pretty close match to the blue. So this is how I
should have had Jax or Xander paint that.
Ooh.
Ooh, snap.
You're feeling it today, ain't you? Alright, I'm just going to do this last K here. And then
And you are going to go back over that.
we're going to shut the camera off before Vicky decides to bash me again.
I didn't bash you.
Alright.
Check your O there. Alright, there you go.
Alright. Again, the cool thing is this stuff sands off pretty well. Alright, I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to do that H, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and sand. That'll all be dry, and we'll sand it off, see what it looks like. Okay, so I used the 220 just on that, guys. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And turn it, spin it. That work?
Yep.
All right, I'm good with that. All right, let's take it back inside, and we're going to start doing the color around on these spikes. Alright guys, it's time to put some more color on this thing. So I am back to using the one shot, and this is Fire Red, it says. So this is going to take a while, obviously. But I don't have to be in a hurry. And it's actually a pretty good match to the H there, which that is, I'm spitting again. That is actually the water-based acrylic, whereas this is the oil-based one shot.
Tell us again how much you love painting.
You know, I'm starting to really like it. I think I am becoming enthralled with it.
You're lying.
You didn't even have to look at my face to know.
Nope.
It's all right. This is going to be a pretty dramatic sign from a color standpoint, so I am kind of looking forward to seeing what it looks like. What really I'm excited about next is the finish. And seeing how the finish comes out, because I want to see that resin especially and the grains pop out when I put a finish on it. I am painting the end. I don't lose track of what I'm doing here. So, if you look at the artwork, you'll see there's some red and there's some orange. Well, I call it orange. It's kind of orange yellowish. So I'm going to do all of that painting, the rest of it off camera. And when we come back, the next scene, it'll be time to turn it back around, make sure, yeah, that's right there. When we come back, the next scene will be putting that boom on and seeing what the whole thing looks like completed. Then we'll move on to the finishing process after that. So we will be back directly. Hey guys, all right, here we are. We have got all the components done. We've got all the painting done. So now all I've got to do is I've got to glue on the boom letters. I've got them in place where they go. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Star Bond again. I'm going to use the thick, and I'm going to
Got some little marks there, so you know.
yeah, I've got some tape as registration marks, so I know where they go.
Okay, hold on a minute.
I'm just going to put a few dots. Should be all it takes.
In theory.
This part makes me a little nervous, I must tell you. So I'm going to spray it.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to show the spraying and all that.
Wish I had just sprayed this in there. And that should be a pretty fast stick.
Right, now I'll back up so we can see you glue the others.
This one I don't really need a registration mark because the notches are there for over the H.
Yeah, pull it away from your board.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna spray it over here.
I'll just follow you around. Go ahead.
Thank you. In. So we're getting close. This thing's going to be done pretty soon. I'm going to spray it.
Oh, I'm not following.
Yeah, no, you don't need to. So I'm just off camera. I'm spraying that with the accelerator, guys. That's all I'm doing. Just like I did the other day. That should be a pretty fast stick. So then the last piece is here. And then the dot. All right.
You know, hold it up.
Yeah, you can turn it around. So, there it is.
Lift it.
Oh yeah. So my next step will be on the next video. One more video, that'll be Mondays. So what we'll do is we're going to pour a resin finish on this. I've got a few more little things to do, and in case you didn't, if you go back and watch, I shortened this up a little bit. I trimmed it off. I've been thinking about it, and the reason I made it long is because I knew I could always shorten it up if I needed to, and I just think it fits it a little better. And I will give credit to my friend John Jurgen He's the one that mentioned it to me, but then also my wife mentioned that it was just a little bit long. Now here I can't take anything off the top and bottom, but I didn't want to because I really want to showcase this board more than I do the sign part of it. But I'm really happy with it so far. So the next thing I'm gonna put an edge on the ends, put a nice bevel on there, and then when we come back on Monday, that'll be the last video. We're gonna do a resin pour on this and see if we can get the look that we're going for. I can't wait to see what the resin looks like on all of this grain. Anyway, guys, that is it. I hope you're enjoying this. Please like and share, and if you haven't subscribed, we'd love for you to subscribe. Don't forget to click that little bell icon. If you have any questions on this or anything else, just email me directly, eric@makeawoodsign.com. Also, I'm on Instagram every day, makeawoodsign. And that's it. Thanks everybody for watching and all the support. We love you all, and we'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.